If you watch my channel even a moderate a bit, you might have noticed that I've done some reviews of some CHUWI products. CHUWI is a brand that does all kinds of stuff. They do laptops, they do tablets, they do mini PCs. This one here is a Windows tablet. They sent this over to me for me to review. You can see there, it's a Windows tablet. Smaller than something like a Microsoft Surface, which tend to be a little bit bigger, like 12-ish inches, something like that. This one here, you can see, is a full Windows. It's going to have a very similar form factor as like more of an Android device. You can see quite thin, just like an Android device. Right? Kind of same kind of look as an Android device. Overall, it kind of just looks like one. The main difference here is that it actually runs Windows. So you can notice it has active cooling in it, fan. It doesn't have a powerful SoC in it, but it certainly doesn't have a bad one either. It has an N100 Intel chip in there, so it's going to be more than enough for day-to-day tasks. It's very, very snappy when it comes to day-to-day tasks, but it's also going to be pretty good if you're going to be doing other more demanding tasks. Even video editing, honestly, you can do some light video editing on this with no problems. So let's jump into this one here and see if this is worth buying. What you may hear right now is the gentle whirring of a CHUWI mini PC that I am updating Windows and other drivers for a review that I'm working on. But this isn't about that. This is about this, CHUWI Hi10 X1. This one here, it's not a powerhouse by any means. It's going to be a kind of a media type tablet or taking notes or student type thing. I think you can spec these out a little bit different, but this one here, it's only 10 inches, so it's not huge. It's a tablet style thing. 800p, so again, for 10 inches, it's going to be fine. It's about probably around the same pixel density as a 1200p screen if it's 13 or 14 inches, so it'll be fine at that. N100 processor, again, not a powerhouse, but totally fine. It's a true quad-core processor, modern quad-core processor. It's going to be very capable when it comes to things like Windows tasks, browsing, messing about there. Honestly, you can even do video editing on it. You're not going to be problems, but it's more for just browsing type stuff. It does only have 8 gigabytes of RAM, so that's going to be the one negative for doing like heavy power use. But again, it's more the type of device you're going to be taking to class, taking notes, that kind of thing, potentially watching shows. 256 storage, which is respectable, again, for the same type of thing. I picture these type devices for students or office type things. If you're moving around the office and you just need like an actual computer to move around the office and use, or if you're a student, obviously, these things would be great. I used to carry the Behemoth around when I was in school, and it sucked. That nice, cute little Windows tablet. I like that. I like that a lot. Again, it's not supposed to be a powerhouse. Not meant for that. It's meant to be a little portable Windows machine for taking notes, watching shows, that kind of thing. It has a screen protector already installed with a exterior screen protector, telling us our specs there. Very nice. Camera up here, looks like a sensor, microphone most likely. On the bottom we have the latching points and the actual connector for the Bluetooth keyboard. There's a lot of ports on this. Left side we get a micro display port, which is interesting. That's really cool. 2 USB-C. One will be for charging, obviously. One for data. There's some ventilation there. Oh my god, there's more ports. So the USB-A on the right side and a headphone. So 2 USB-C, one of them being power, and a USB-A and a headphone jack is and a display out. I mean, that's pretty interesting there. Yeah, it feels nice. It's not too thin. It's a perfect size. It's basically Android tablet thick, which is very interesting for a Windows machine, obviously. Well, don't blow them down. Feels nice. That has to be metal. Yeah, that's metal, obviously. Intake fan there and an exhaust out here. Fun fact, my family dog, when I grew up, was named Chewy, although it was spelled different. A case. These are accessories. I used their keyboard before on their previous thing that they sent me, and the keyboard was freaking amazing. Oh yeah, this will be nice. I don't want to spoil that. I don't want to spoil that section. Yeah, 631 grams. That's nothing. Kit and caboodle, is that the right term? 1303, so under 3 pounds for everything. Yeah. Screen protector comes pre-installed. That's fantastic. It's a touch screen. There we go. Little pop out there. There's the intake. It doesn't cover that. Camera, so it's obviously designed for the specific product. It's a nice little package. Okay, get that on there. So when this is done up, it's a nice little book, a nice little novel you're carrying around. Do a little reading. Yeah, what do you got there? Oh, you got a little planner, a little daily planner. No, buddy. I got a whole freaking laptop here. It's a Windows machine. Are you crazy? I don't need a planner. It's a digital age. Okay, so here is the tablet all set up. The Windows tablet. Bring that back slightly. Very cool. You can see that there. First looks here, we can see it does have a little bit of a bezel around it. It's not totally unused. You do have cameras in that embedded in it. Okay. So, I mean, there's a little bit of extra size there. Inside, I'm sure that the size is being used for things like cooling in that and, you know, ports. So it's not just like empty space. There's actually stuff in there. Keyboard here does attach very easily. Very easily. Oh, a little light comes on apparently when it's attached. Very nice. You can close it up. Get a nice little package to it. Apparently that turns off the screen. I don't know how. It knows. I guess the sensor there. But yeah, when you close it, it does turn off the screen. Okay, so look at the specs to start here. So it does have the N1000, N100 CPU, which is fine. It's just a 4-core, true 4-core, no threads. So it's not going to be like a Cinebench monster, but it's still good. A true 8-core. Then we have 4800 megahertz RAM, soldered. It's only 8 gigabytes, unfortunately, but it looks like it comes with a very debloated edition of Windows. They probably just debloat the crap out of it. These aren't really openable because it's a tablet. I guess you could take off the screen, but I'm not going to do that. Wi-Fi 6A, AX101, so nice fast Wi-Fi. That's also good. And then basically you're going to get some XE graphics here, or UHD graphics. You'll be able to do some stuff with it, but it's not powerhouse by any means. Screen. Again, it's 800p. Oops, wrong button. It is 800p, so not the finest resolution. However, it's also not the biggest screen. So for an 11-inch, it looks crisp to me. Like, I guess if I brought it right up to my face, I'd be able to see the pixels, but at 11 inches, it's not that bad. The pixel density is probably going to be somewhere around the same as a 1200p 14-inch laptop. The keyboard here is just a standard layout. It's slightly smaller than like a full keyboard, obviously, because it's an 11-inch tablet across, but you do get like a full size, like these are good keycap size, and the separation between them is good. So I'll do a quick typing test here. The last CHUWI keyboard that I used I actually liked quite a bit, so I'm assuming it's going to be like that, but we'll see. Yeah, that's a really nice keyboard, actually. Very nice to type on. It's really, there's a lot of travel for such a thin little thing. I guess it's like thick enough, I suppose, and a lot of travel. Like those keycaps go, those keys go all the way down. That's a nice travel, and they're super snappy. Yeah, it's a really nice keyboard, especially for a little like mobile, like attachment thing. It's fantastic. Honestly, it's actually fantastic. So, I mean, I would really hope so, because one of the point of this tablet, I believe, it would be something, you know, you take to class or take to meetings and type up notes. That's kind of the point of it, you know, do like your daily stuff. So it would kind of suck if it had a really bad keyboard, and it does not. It has a very nice keyboard. The trackpad is relatively small, but again, it's fine, nice and precise, a little textured to it, and it's clicky. I like clicky. Some people don't, but I actually really like sharp clicky trackpad. So that's really nice to me. So this unit here is fantastic. Which again, I would really hope so, because this is the type of thing you're probably buying to take notes, to take to a meeting, take to class, and bang out some notes. It's just a tiny little thing. You don't need a big, expensive, monstrous laptop to do something like that. It's just a nice little quick thing. And of course, then you have access to touch as an input as well, which some laptops don't necessarily have. You know, if you're just taking that off, you can certainly just use it as a, use it as a Windows type touch, Windows tablet that has touch on it. So it'd be very nice. So it's not 100% DCI-P, Delta E, and going to be Pantone validated, but the colors look good. They actually look bad on camera, which is interesting. Kind of does sometimes. Maybe because it's glossy. Reasonably decent. Like, it's not going to be 100% DCI-P color space or anything like that, but the colors look okay. I would prefer if it was a 4K OLED with amazing things, but then it would cost a fortune. The reds look pretty vibrant. It's definitely in the sRGB color space. I don't think it's 100% sRGB, but it's also not some garbage screen that you can get on some laptops and that. So A little bit of vibrancy there. The blacks look fantastic again because it's a glossy touchscreen. Typically they have pretty good blacks and this is good. It's not OLED level, obviously. Okay, we'll do an audio test. I have no clue how loud this is going to get because it's a tablet. You do have the controls up here for volume. Oh, that's the wrong way. It does actually flip, so it's up or down if it's vertical. I guess if it's horizontal, it'll flip the other way. So just watch your headphones. We'll see how loud it gets. Oh, it's going to get decently loud, actually. It's actually not bad, honestly. Not going to beat out like an iPad, obviously. Not even close to an iPad or something like that, but I mean, it's no worse than some of the business laptops out there. And just general navigation through Windows is nice and snappy. Again, it's an N100. I've seen people be like, oh, it's super low end. It's not really. It's actually just not a super powerful thing, but it's still going to rival like an 11th gen processor, mobile processor, which is fine. You can do a ton with those even nowadays. So you're going to have no problems. Just it's snappy. It's just really snappy, honestly. It's a quad core processor. It's just not a high wattage thing. Really quiet though. Wattages on the CPU, 10 watts. That's more than I thought. I actually thought it was 7.5, but I guess it's 10. 2,279. That was with hardware info open, which I probably should have got rid of. Probably get slightly higher, around 3,000. I usually find that the N1000, the N100 gets around 3,000 points, which is fine. Again, that's going to be only a little bit behind if you get 3,000. Right now, it's a little lower, but when you get around 3,000, it's in the same realm as the 1165 G7, 11th gen Intel processor, which is fine for a laptop, honestly. People still use 8th gen. 11th gen is, I'd still consider relatively modern. Personally, if I was doing power user type stuff, heavy type work, I would want to have something more modern than 11th gen, probably more like a 12th or 13th, honestly, but it's fine. So again, that's why it feels so snappy in Windows. It's going to be totally fine. I've edited videos on when I went to CES 2023. When I went to CES 2024, I took a ThinkPad 8th gen with me, which would be slower than this, to be honest. And I didn't have much problems. There was, when I was doing some heavy 4K stuff and exporting, it got a little, like it just took more time, but the actual editing was fine. So, I mean, honestly, you can do more than you think with an N100. I wouldn't get this machine specifically to do that kind of stuff, but in a pinch, on the fly, on a plane, you're going to be able to do some decent stuff with this here. Temperatures here are good. Obviously, the keyboard itself doesn't have any real temperatures, just ambient more or less, because it's not attached to the device at all, and there's no internals. The device has a little bit of heat coming out of the top left there. That's where the exhaust is, and the CPU. Only 43 degrees or so. There is exhaust coming out of the side here, but it doesn't really heat up my hand or anything like that. So, I mean, it's a nice device even for a lap, obviously. The included SSD here is a SATA SSD, not an NVMe. Honestly, it would be totally fine. I would prefer an NVMe, but you're not doing heavy 4K editing on this device anyways. So honestly, it's still going to feel super snappy. Boots are going to be super quick as well, which I noticed. No problem there. Then looking at the battery life, it's not staggering or anything because it does have a fairly small battery inside the device. It's burning around 7.3, 7.4 watts when we're doing just browsing on Windows, going through the internet browsing and that, which is fine. It'll still give you around 3 hours. It's fine for a device like this with not such a large battery. Then I did some 1080p YouTube. It jumped up to around 9-ish watts when we're burning. That'll give you around 2.5 hours of YouTube. So again, this is not going to be an all-day battery monster, something that's going to give you 8 hours, 10 hours of battery life. But the nice thing about it is that it is very, very portable. It doesn't take a lot of watts, so you can easily charge this off even a very low wattage power bank. Okay, here's a look at the built-in webcam. We'll see how it looks after. On the screen, it looks fine. It's a little desaturated. It's a dark room though. I only have these lights here basically coming in. It's night outside. So it's doing an okay job. Again, totally dark, relatively dark setting. Come back a little bit here. You can see my thumb back slightly. Changes the focus at all, but it seems okay. I mean, for a lower cost tablet, I think we do a great job. Just a couple pictures here using the back camera. Looking here at some text, looks pretty clear. Again, it's not going to be an iPhone 16 Pro Max camera, but it's actually much better than I anticipated. Not with the best lighting either. Here's a shot at some Legos. This is horrible contrast. There's backlighting and almost no front lighting. It's doing a pretty good job of separating it out. A little bit of a struggle with the contrast on some of those front items, but again, it looks pretty good for a little tablet like this that's not very expensive. And then we'll move into some video example here with the same camera. Back camera. Like that. A little flip around here, I'm not sure how this looks. This is the primary shooter, I guess the face cam would be the primary camera. This is kind of the back camera taking a few photos and videos. So, what do I think about the CHUWI tablet, the CHUWI Windows tablet? Well, it's not very chewy. You can't really eat it. However, it is a very nice Windows tablet for the budget range. Obviously, if you get something like Microsoft Surface tablet, it's going to be better. It's also significantly more expensive. It's also larger. This thing here is not overly big. It's the same as any real mid-size Android tablet. So whenever you need to have a machine that's very portable, like a little tablet with a keyboard attached, but you need to have access to a Windows environment, this might be a good option for you. I've never been huge into things like Mac tablets, Android tablets. I use them, but they're more for just like media consumption, but I don't really get work done on them. Whereas here, you're not so locked behind an operating system. Here, you get full-fledged Windows and a respectable APU here. The N100 is respectable, very respectable. A true quad core, you're gonna be able to do real work on it. The keyboard on this thing is actually really nice. It has a ton of travel on it. I really like it. Nice and clicky. It feels structurally sound. The carrying case itself is really nice as well. Everything's kind of just fine on it, right? Like there's no real problems with it. The screen is good. I don't have any problems with the screen. The bezels are a little big. I guess could be smaller. That would be nice, but I mean, it's not a super expensive tablet. I think that's kind of the point here. Yeah, if you're looking for a nice little portable Windows tablet that runs well, you want to get a portable form factor that you would get out of an Android tablet or a Mac or an Apple tablet, but you don't want to be locked behind those operating systems that are quite limited. You want to have a full-fledged Windows machine. This may be an option for you. So this is the CHUWI Hi10 Windows tablet, Windows machine, Windows thing, something that you might want to check out if the price is right and it fits what you're looking for.